just before this session, another call was going on in Teams meeting, and I think I missed to log out that, and that's why this was creating a kind of a conflict between my video. Now it's done. So I am a partner and co-founder in Mazars India LLP. Mazars is a consulting audit and consulting firm. I am part of the consulting part in India, and it's a global firm based out of 104 countries, is across the globe, and it's ranked around 8 in terms of its revenue. So quickly, I would maybe some of you were already introducing yourself. I could hear only a bit of that because of this technical glitch. Would like to have a quick introduction from your side. Maybe one by one, you all can introduce yourself. By the way, I am based out of Kolkata because just I heard that Shilpa and MC were discussing on the location. So I thought of mentioning that it's good that we are from different part of the country now on this call.
Absolutely. We have the entire India in conversation, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So again, Chandra, sorry to interrupt in between, but yes, welcome to you. Welcome again to the entire thing, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe one by one, we can start the introduction. Maybe a 30-second introduction of each one of you.
Sure, I can go first.
Sure.
Hi, Chandrasekhar. My name is Meera Jhala, and I'm based out of Gurgaon. I'm a serial entrepreneur in the food space. I ran my own food services company, which was acquired by CureFit, which is India's topmost health and fitness platform. Post that, now I have moved on to the investment side, and I'm an operating partner at ScaleX Partners. And we are hoping to invest in a lot more women-owned and women-run businesses.
Okay, great. Maybe next can be Udita.
Yes, sure. Hi, Chandrasekhar. I'm Udita Bansal, founder of True Browns Lifestyle. We are an urban ethnic wear brand, digital-only brand, with a vision to embrace inclusivity in all aspects. So one thing that we stand for is to, at least with our product, is to have a very size-inclusive offering and build inclusivity in all aspects as we grow. We are 5 years old, and the journey has been strong. Look forward to interacting today.
Yeah, and your wear is on the women's side only, or it's both unisex?
Currently it's only women's wear, but we will be doing different categories in this year and the next year.
Okay. Yeah, so who would like to be next? I don't want to choose anyone.
I'm happy to go next. So,
yeah,
I am Shahad Agarwal, and I'm the founder and CEO of Impact Study Biz. Impact Study Biz is a strategic consultancy where we specifically help startups. So one thing, I am really big advocate for generation equality. 80% of my workforce is women, and it's a more inclusive environment. The whole vision is to provide strategy at an affordable cost to each and every startup so that they can actually meet their vision and bring their awesome products to market without, losing out on the opportunity because of the costing and the resources it actually requires to happen. So, and I'm really glad to be here.
By the name Study Business and the books which are being shown behind you, I thought it would something which will provide us a lot of education related aspects. Not an issue. Yeah. Yeah, who can be next then? I think Shilpa is there.
Yeah, all right. Okay, hi Chandrasekhar. Nice meeting you. Hello everybody else on the panel. I'm Dr. Shilpa Ramesh Ramani. I'm the founder of One Page Spotlight, a professional social media network focused mainly on creators, purely created and made in India. We are Atmanirbhar before the term Atmanirbhar was actually coined. So we are 6 months into launching our app, but the startup is about 1.5, 2 years now. And we launched our app during the COVID, and we've had relatively good traction over the last 6 months. catering to about 12,000 artists, creators from across all platforms. While what is unique to One Page Spotlight is the fact that we are focusing on building a social media app that will cut away noise from Facebook and Instagram and other kind of the same where we have other kind of social media that actually focuses and bring focus onto actual art forms. And we are creating a platform that provides all solutions, say edtech, e-commerce, and so on, everything under one umbrella, focusing on all creators. So we mean serious art, the business of serious art. Thank you.
Great. I think we are missing Sakshi Sehgal, right? Out of the list. Okay. MC, shall we proceed? I think Sakshi is not there.
Yes, you can proceed. She will join us in just about some time.
Okay.
Thank you.
So maybe we can have our pointers, thoughts across this particular session that we are having, and we can make it as interactive as we can. So I have given my pointers on the group. I believe you all would have gone through that, a brief on that. Maybe, but I would like to hear more from you all. Maybe one by one we can start, and we can then have a kind of a interactive session around the same. So maybe we can again start with Meera.
Sure.
To her thoughts around the same.
Sure. So executive presence to me has nothing to do with performance. It's more about how you act, how you speak, and how you present yourself, right? I've seen a lot of women in the workplace. They feel that, you work hard, you keep your head down, and that is enough. I would like to tell all the, women who are listening in today that being intelligent and hardworking, just being intelligent and hardworking is not enough. You need to do more. You need to have that executive presence. And for me, communication is the key aspect here. If you are able to communicate clearly, concisely, and consistently, I think that makes a big difference in your overall executive presence. What that indicates is that, you are ready for the next big role, you're ready for the next big project, and you will not be overlooked. So it's important to have your communication. Now, it's not so easy to be concise in your communication. It is something that can be learned. It is something that needs a lot of practice. It is something that needs, effort needs to be put into it to get it right. So I would encourage all women to focus on their communication, and communication in all aspects, in terms of your verbal communication, your digital presence, your written communication. You want to ensure that it is consistent across all platforms, and you're able to put your thoughts clearly through all mediums. That would be my number one advice.
Yeah. So. Very means quite well in saying that communication is one of the very important part. But would like to know a bit more on this. See, communication normally people understand is to become more vocal. It's by either ways. That's to talk a lot, either on social media or on business platforms or personally or that. But what can be the 2, 3, 4 important tips that you would like to say one has to be cautious in building the right image while making the communication?
So communication to me, talking a lot is not communication. Being concise and being able to communicate your point in clear terms is very important. I've seen that women, if they are too forceful in their communication, that can be a disadvantage at times. That can be perceived as, that may not be received very well. So you have to find that right balance in terms of being forceful or being firm in what your ask is, and also finding a middle ground at times.
So what kind of preparation one can do? Because communication is not a thing which can be learned overnight or maybe in a days or in a month's kind of a time. It may require a constant kind of a focus, a constant working around the same to come up to the right level of working. So what can be the maybe couple of things people can or women entrepreneurs can focus in order to improve their communication on an ongoing basis?
So I can tell you from my experience, I have been guilty of doing this myself, earlier in my career, where if I had a presentation, I would go and, work really hard to make sure all the slides are perfect. It looks exactly how I want it to look, but not work on the delivery. However, I feel that the main purpose of that presentation is how I'm going to deliver. That is how people are going to receive. So I learned that early on in my career. And I realized that relying too much on the slides or your notes may be doing a disservice to your entire presentation. So don't use that as a clutch, versus focus on what you want to say, practice what you are going to say, and make eye contact. Make sure that you're looking at your audience, you're connecting with your audience while you're speaking to them to help them better understand what you're saying.
Great. Maybe now we can move to Udita.
Sure. So yes, agree with Meera completely. Communication is one of the key factors on how how one can define presence in a room. But at an overall level, if I have to share my view on executive presence, I feel it's an art which is unique to you, and it is deeply personal. It's something that you need to work on, and it will get refined with time. But there has to be a constant effort to work on it, experiment, learn from failures, and let it refine over the years with a lot of practice. So one needs to know what is unique to them, and to begin with, stick to it rather than being a part of the crowd. If you really are yourself in the room, you will do a good job. And so few pointers here where I constantly work on, or I'm conscious are to begin with energy. Like, I need to enter a room or a meeting with good energy, because that's the energy people will pick. That's the start. Your energy needs to be positive. It needs to be good. You need to be self-assured of what you are wanting to present in that meeting or in a room. Along with energy, extremely important is how poised you are. Rushing into a conversation, speaking too fast, using a lot of hand gestures sometimes do not, in fact, never maybe exude any kind of confidence. So the poised you are, it actually eludes a lot of confidence. So being confident and being poised is something, again, that I try to be extremely conscious of. Along with it, as Meera mentioned, look in the eye contact is extremely important, and genuinely engage with people, because a lot of conversation happens through non-verbal presence, and a lot of cues in a meeting or in a room are through non-verbal actions. So looking into the eye, engaging genuinely when you are speaking to someone is extremely important. For me, in the non-COVID era, a good handshake was also very important, and I've faltered there, where I've not been confident, and my start of a meeting has been with a very a very not a confident handshake. One needs to work on that. So yes, these are the pointers which I consciously work on and believe are important to define one's presence in a room.
Okay. So you were in the beginning, you were telling about knowing our own strength, or maybe knowing our oneself. That's quite valid, but the important thing is that the people at times tend to spend the whole of their life, but they could not realize what's their real strength is, or what how differentiated they are with respect to the other mass. So any tips you have on that which may help people in actually recognize themselves, understand themselves?
There's one thing that I follow is, after every meeting or interaction, evaluate what happened, what went right, what could have been improved, pen it down and try to improve on those points for your next interaction. So I'm going to pen down even today's interaction, where I could have maybe maybe spoken better, or where I could have maybe not spoken and been present better. So constantly evaluating, penning it down and keeping it as a pointer to work on in your next interaction helps one work on defining their unique self.
Okay. And you were talking about the bringing in positive energy when we are entering any kind of a communication or room or anything. And to an extent, I would thank COVID to that by virtual meeting, that has given a lot of positivity in terms of in entering a meeting room. Normally, because if I consider my experience, the positivity at times are not as is not as high in a physical but a business kind of a meeting or a formal meeting, but it becomes quite easier when we are in a virtual room. So my actually question is different. My question is that you would have come across certain difficult situations while entering kind of a discussion or a meeting or a conference, whatever, where you would have expected a kind of a positive environment, but maybe all of a sudden you would have faced something negative. So in short, if you can share your experience around the same, thought process around the same, it would be good.
Sure. I think at some level, to begin with, yes. If you enter a room which is not how you expect it to be, there is a setback. Having said that, I'm going back to my point where I'm saying you need to have your good energy. If you feel good within, you can win half of that problem. Having said that, yes, something can be absolutely 360-degree different from what you expect. So half the battle maybe is won because from internally you feel good, you stay positive. In terms of physical things that one can practice when one in such a situation, I would say stay calm and breathe. Genuinely take a deep breath into your belly, and that's going to relax you down, and that works. That definitely works, at least not in reacting to that situation, but consciously being aware and present to your best in that particular situation. So at least you can control the reaction part of one in that situation, I would feel.
Great. Maybe we can move to Chahat now.
Yes.
Yeah, Chahat, if you can hear me.
So both of you made excellent points, which is right, communication is the key, and the energy you step in. One thing you said, which was very is right on point, is that everyone is unique and we all need to understand what is our persona. Just like a brand or a company, every individual has certain key phrases attached to them. Either you control it or you let other people control it for you. That's what your presence means, right? So one thing that people make a mistake of is trying to please everyone. You need to understand who your audience is, and you need to communicate, act accordingly. So the consistency in how you talk, how you look, and what you do matters. How you speak matters, right? Because the whole point is to connect with them, be a storyteller, be a visionary, and be able, have the ability to actually present your ideas in a way where it adds value in other person's life. Just talking isn't communicating. Without any value addition of what you're saying or doing, it's just blah, is what I call it. So it's not really, it's just words. It's not communication, right? So for a proper executive presence, or I would say what it takes to be a leader, irrespective of whatever role you're in, you need to understand, you need to be reliable, you need to be easy to connect with, but that all relates to your audience. It is impossible to talk to a group of 100 people and get all 100 people to agree on the same point, because we all are individual, like different people, we have different experiences, we have different values, right? But how effective you are to communicate your thought process to them matters. And I think that's what we need to build in people. I have been in many meetings where I would say how people talk versus their actions do not connect at all. They might be great orators, amazing conversations, but when it comes to the actual actions, they're unable to deliver. That's not a real executive presence, right? There's a gap, there's inconsistency. That doesn't build trust. So someone, or any women or any individual for that matter, who's able to provide that consistency in all the three aspects, that's what a true leader or a positive presence, positive presence is all about. It can't be just one or the another. It has to go all together. I always say that every person has a personal brand, if whatever people talk about you behind your back, that is your personal brand. So if you take it in your own hands and you actually build on it, as you said, about how working every day and reevaluating your actions, your words, what you could have done better, where you should have stepped back, so on and so forth, it really helps you. And yes, your energy does matter. If you are entering, no matter how bad the situation is, but if you are entering with a positive and a can-do attitude, you will also bring the entire room up with you, right? It's even if it is negative, if negativity is affecting you, your positivity can affect them as well, right? So why not go in always that positive tone in it, right? And as Udita said that she's very poised in a room when she goes into a meeting. I'm like complete opposite. I'm like bang on point, like I'm full of energy and I understand, like, as I said, every person is different and your target audience is different as well. And I love that how calm she is about it, like even now, and look at me like going, like I can't even sit still. So that's the uniqueness of each person who needs to enhance on it and build that. Because if you're not authentic, you can't really create your personal brand without coming on as a liar or a person who's fake, what we call, right? It needs to be authentic to who you are, and you need to see what are the people you're connecting with. And those are the people, when you connect with your audience, that matters whether you get the promotions or not, whether how good a team player you are you able to get things done or not, or what kind of clients you bring in. It's all around your own personal brand. And yes, I completely agree on the communication style as well as the energy and the work we have to do every day to bring it up.
Great. So a couple of things on what you have said. One is you, in your discussion, you were, though you haven't directly said it, but I think you wanted to talk something about being formal and informal.
Yes.
Because the way you were expressing one or couple of situations, maybe you can throw a light how it can be helpful by having a balance between both being formal or informal. One is that, and sorry, I'm missing the second part. In the meantime, I will try to recollect that.
No worries. So what matters is what your role is at the time. If I'm in a team, if I'm working with my colleagues at the time, I can't be formal with them. I am their peer there, right? I need to connect with them at a level where they understand me, where we are open to each other, in which we can provide positive criticism, is what I call, and understand the feedback and work on it collectively. I can't talk to them in the same manner the way I talk to my clients, right? Because with my clients, as let's say the first meeting, it has to be much more formal till we build a confidence and we understand each other if we are on the same page or not, right? There's a difference. I always say that you can't be same with everyone. Your audience matters how you speak with. It's very similar when we are kids, when we go to our mom, the way we ask her for stuff versus how we ask for dad, like ask from dad, it's very different. You don't go around saying the same thing, right? Because the objective is different. So I would say as a leader or as an effective team player, you need to know what your ask is. Second, how are you communicating it? And third, if the way you're communicating it to the other person doesn't make sense or not. The way I talk to my team, if I start talking to my clients like that, they'll think I'm crazy. So there has to be a balance between, and it's not just about formal and informal, it's literally about your tone of voice. What is your tone of voice that other people understand? What does the client expect from you? Do you have that tone of voice or not? What does your team expect from you? Are you talking to them in the same tone or not? It's, as I said, again, it all turns out to the reliability and the trust factor. If I'm able to connect with them in a way they understand it, I am successful with my communication. If I'm talking, it's like talking in two different languages and not understanding what either of them are saying, right? That's all lost in translation. It's very similar when our tone of voice is not connecting with the audience. And although we might be talking about the same thing, the understanding of our words will be very different. So, yeah.
Next, my second part was in relation to when you took the example of being an orator. So where one can be a very good orator, but in actual performance or delivery, will be totally different. So one thing which comes to my mind upfrontly is that while fundamentally it's a very, very right principle, what you have said, but normally, and especially more so in today's world, where communication plays such an important role.
Yeah.
So somewhere the general feeling among the people is that being a good communicator by being a good orator also can make them very successful, and maybe and at times people get confused with this thing with the salesmanship or the being a marketing person, because normally people believe a marketing person or salesman, they can talk a lot but actually their product will not deliver.
Exactly.
So the belief is largely that being an orator is more required rather than being an actual performance. But I'm not advocating that. I'm just,
yes. No, of course, you're right. Many people do believe that. And I have seen a lot of companies, a lot of people being duped into that. Like, just because someone talks sweet doesn't mean they can actually deliver. And that's what I think earlier Mira said, that even though you might be really good at your job, doesn't mean you will get the promotion, right? It doesn't matter there. What matters is the proper combination of having people skill and being able to deliver that, right? So I always say that it's a combination of 5 elements that brings that makes you stand out in the crowd. It is business intelligence, your risk-taking capacity, your interpersonal relationship with people, that's where the communication and everything comes in, your performance, and your self-development. So once you have these 5 factors, you immediately stand out. Being a good performer and a bad orator doesn't work. And similarly, being a good orator but a bad performer, it might get your foot in the door, but it's not consistent for a long time. So it has to be both.
So let's quickly move to Shilpa. Maybe we are running a bit short of time. So yeah, Shilpa.
All right. So my perspective is pretty much aligned to everybody else's. But my key takeaway from all this is, see, when we are, as an entrepreneur, we hire people who are much smarter than us. All right. So when people are much smarter than us, our executive presence in terms of orating, saying something, convincing, they're much smarter than us anyways. All right. So what we must do, I believe, in building the foundation of creating an executive presence by starting to learn. Okay. Ask relevant questions to those people. For example, if you're dealing with people from the world of technology, or you're talking to the people of science, you cannot expect an entrepreneur running a tech company to understand everything about design or, something like that. So I think we have to learn on our knowledge skills, build fundamental knowledge skills before we consider ourselves at least partially successful in building a brand or our executive presence or convincing those people. Otherwise, like Chahat said, that you can come out as fake. I can just keep nodding my head and people say, she doesn't know, she's just faking it. All right. So for me, I think the border, it's a very narrow line in my experience, where you can show your employee your vulnerability, that you do not know, it's all right. So you have to pick and choose the right people to communicate first and learn from. A lot of people themselves are, because of this personal branding, a thing that everybody is coming up with, which actually is not personal branding, because authentic personal branding is actually being who you are and actually working upon it. So that's where people like Chahat also help us out. So I think, so there are, executives also come, like team members come to us talking, come out and they want to deliver a personal brand to us as entrepreneurs. So for me, I have to pick and choose the right people who actually are showing their authenticity. So I have to understand, one person has to understand where the other person is coming from. So considering we are working in India and we are from a different demographic, like you said, I have to know, where you come from and what you can be good at and what you're bringing to the table apart from your skill sets. So, and I have to create a clear communication, probably from a very, again, interpersonal skills. Create a communication so that I create a bond of trust with you. I genuinely want to know what Kolkata is. Then you will believe, then you will know what if I show you that I want to know what Kolkata is or Delhi is, then you'll know, okay, chalo, she's trustworthy. Now, then we move on to talking about the actual skill sets. And then I understand sometimes you may not agree to the way I want a certain product done or certain thing done. So I think I have to give a democratic environment to a team member or a set of team members, which also increases my personal brand. Me being authentic, allowing you to speak and listening to you and genuinely listening to you. Making you feel important, not for the sake of making you feel important, but I really, showing that I really consider you important. Now, like you said, this thing always works. Poise and being bubbly. You already, I throw that energy all the time, like being bubbly, being loud. So poise is something that I'd like to, be in my imagination. I always want to be like probably Udita, but I never end up being there. So I think in cases like mine, where we have a lot of energy or where we I bring in great energy, Tashul, but the point is mindfulness and, mindfulness, yoga, these kind of things actually help us to, communicate effectively. So this has helped me. In my experience, this has helped me rather than raising my voice, I have learned to raise my words.
Great.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, 2-3 good points came up, and I was actually expecting those points to be coming up in this platform. One is being a good listener. So that's a really one good thing. And a similar one related to the same is kind of getting into the same wavelength with the person with whom we are interacting. And in that also being a good listener helps in actually getting into the same wavelength so that we can understand each other and we can talk at the same common wavelength. also good that you have mentioned about couple of things we can practice is being mindfulness and being yoga and all these things, which on an overall perspective, it really helps in developing our personality on an overall basis, and ultimately helps us in all the streams of our life. So good that couple of things, these kind of things you have brought in. I was expecting that these kind of things should come up in this kind of a forum. Good that. From me, that if you people have anything else to share, anything to respond, leaving the platform for all of you.
I think sorry.
One thing I would like to add is that we've talked about the communication and the presence. What we have not talked about is the look. It can be a very insignificant thing. However, it can open doors. So how you present yourself, how you dress also plays a part. Say you work in the social sector, there is a certain way you should present yourself. If you work in a tech company, there's a different way you should present yourself. So it's not, it's a make or break type of a thing. It's a check in the box. You have to make sure that you're dressed for the part that you're playing. It may be a small thing, but becomes a roadblock sometimes. So that's something women should be mindful.
And very related to that is the body language. Because if suppose you are interacting with a group of children, your body language will be different. If you are interacting with your friends, colleagues, your body language will be different. If it's in a formal boardroom, body language has to be different. So very much related to dress code and the things that you have said. Yeah.
Can I go next?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So another thing that I want to bring into perspective is your online presence. We splash everything on social media and people already judge you before they know you. And you have to be very mindful of what you post on social media. And when there is a discrepancy between what is there in social media and what you actually see, then what you're expecting out of a meeting can fall flat. So I think I also believe in this slight sense of mystery to your, to who you are. That is very important. I believe in leaving a certain amount of mystery in my social media presence so that, I can reveal myself like a peel my, like an onion, step by step. You won't get to know me. Yeah.
Even when you're making a formal presentation also, I have my personal experience is that we should not reveal everything on the slides. If we reveal everything on the slides, the presentation will go for a toss. So same thing with the presentation, and has to be it has to be very it should create a lot of curiosity and questions in the mind of the people, and then it can be interactive with you and can be helpful to us in actually showcasing our real strength. Yeah, sorry, somebody was trying to add something.
Yes, I was just saying that's really true, and that we need to be very careful about what we put on social media. One thing, what you said right, is that there has to be a certain level of what to expect from you to be available there, right? So when people see you or meet you, they should know. They shouldn't be like in a shock, oh my God, this is not what I thought, what I'm getting into, right? It can't be, the moment that happens, it's a gamble. Can work for you, cannot work for you, right? So the whole point is that you need to know who you are and let people know a part of it so that they know what they're stepping into when they're talking to you. They know how to talk to you. They know when they're meeting you, how they dress versus on how you dress. Like, it has to be consistent. As I said, it can't be like three different things. You talk one way, you act another way, you dress another way. So there has to be a balance between that.
Yeah, great. I think we are largely done with this discussion.